I could put on my Goosebumps shirt, but I never want to wear that again. Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. Recently I uploaded a 3.5-hour vlog where I read all 62 Goosebumps books in 1 month, and it was a really fun challenge. It opened my eyes to a lot of the things that I didn't know about in the Goosebumps world, and it used to be a childhood favourite of mine. It was one of the book series that really got me into reading, so I was so excited to read all 62 original Goosebumps books in 1 month. And honestly, it had been something that I'd been so passionate about doing for such a long time. And the day finally came. I was already behind on the first day. It was fantastic. Saying that, if you've watched my 3.5-hour vlog, you will know that I don't have the best things to say about this series anymore. There are some standouts, there really are, and there are still some that I would consider an all-time favourite, even to this day. But I would say about 70 to 80% of the Goosebumps books do not hold up today. And I will preface this by saying, I know I'm an adult, I know these books weren't written for me, they were written in the 90s, they are outdated and all of that. I totally understand that and I acknowledge that, and it doesn't take away how important this series was to me when I was a kid in the 90s. But yeah, I still think there's a lot of things that need to be addressed about the series, and maybe kids shouldn't be reading all 62 of them. However, there are still some that I really enjoyed. So that is essentially what this video was going to be about. Today I'm going to rank all 62 books from the original Goosebumps series from worst to best. So I thought, let's make this a little bit more fun. In this video, I'm going to talk about each Goosebumps book for only 30 seconds each. And I have a timer on, so when the 30 seconds runs out, I need to go on to the next book. And I can't pause the timer, I can't stop, so I think it'll be 31 minutes. The 62 books, 31 minutes. 31 minutes of me talking Goosebumps. Honestly, I thought I was out of the woods after that vlog. I thought I was done, but no. I really do want to not talk about the series anymore. However, I did say at the end of that vlog that I would do a worst to best video. I will do a list of all of my least favourites all the way up to my favourites. I was going to do a ranking. I promised this. I always come through on my promises. So that's what's going to happen today. But because I'm talking about each book for 30 seconds, it will not be any kind of in-depth analysis on each book or anything like that. It's literally just to show you what my least favourite Goosebumps book was all the way up to my favourite. And if you do want a deep dive into each and every one of these books, then my 3.5-hour Goosebumps video does talk about every single book in, well, I would say detail, because I do talk about what happens in each book, and then what I thought was great in each book, and then what I thought was terrible in each book. And honestly, I do talk more negative than positive in that vlog, not gonna lie. It was also a really bad idea to make a coffee for this, because I'm gonna be on edge talking about each book for 30 seconds and having to move on. So I'm gonna have to quickly down this. I'm gonna have to chug. God, I'm actually really nervous. I'm nervous about this. I'm gonna forget about half of the coffee. I'm just gonna little chat for a minute while I finish this coffee. It's still like rather full as well. Good grief. I'm gonna end up forgetting most character names, unless they're really standout annoying characters that I genuinely hated with every fibre of my being. And maybe some of them I might be foggy on the plot. I did read all of them back to back. Bear that in mind. I read all of them back to back. That kind of probably dampened some of my thoughts on some of them, because I kept seeing the same things over and over. I kept seeing like repetitive storylines or repetitive characters, twists that were relatively the same as the other one, and it just, reading them all at once is not a good idea. If you're going to read the Goosebumps series, I would say tackle it at a time. Don't read them all at once. No, just don't do it. You'll ruin the whole thing for yourself. But also, I have rated every single Goosebumps book by using the Compile system. And Compile is a rating system that was created by Julia Book Roast. I will leave a link to the video down in the description box. But the Compile rating system is essentially rating the books out of 10 in 7 different categories. C-A-W-P-I-L-E, yes, 7. So out of these categories, you rank it out of 10. So we have characters, we have atmosphere, we have writing, we have plot, we have intrigue, we have logic, and then we have enjoyment. So all of those you rate out of 10, and then you get an average at the end for the book. So that is essentially how I have ranked all of these Goosebumps books. I actually surprised myself with this, because I thought that some books were lower than they turned out to be. So I've literally just done the list there in order, and yeah, I'm rather surprised by some of them. Let's all get surprised in the next 31 minutes. Okay, I need to hurry up. Right, okay. Oh god, I'm already stressed. Okay, there's a 5-second countdown before I start, and then yeah, it's gonna be the next 31 minutes. We're gonna do this. Okay. Should I go for a toilet break? No, I don't need the toilet. I don't think, do I? No, I'm fine. I won't be saying what I rated each one in co-pile. I will put that on the screen. Okay, right, okay, enough chat. I'm gonna get into it. Okay, press and play. Oh my god, I know. Hang on, I need a second. Okay. Go. Okay, in very last place is Say Cheese and Die Again. Hated this book, and it's really bizarre because I loved the first Say Cheese and Die so much, but in this one we have the same characters, we have the idea of the camera again, but why in the world did he get the camera back? And what's the main character called again? Evan? No, Greg. Greg is the main character. He puts people's lives in danger just to prove a point with the teacher, and honestly, it just drove me absolutely wild. But the fat phobia in here, the fat phobia is the worst part of it. It's the worst I've seen in the Goosebumps series as a whole. Worst, oh my god, this is making me so nervous. Okay, right, next one is Months of Blood IV, Months of Blood 4, and this one is, honestly, the final book in the Goosebumps series was one of the worst, and I hate the Months of Blood series in general. I'm going to say these really low on this list, but again, like, why do we have a series with the same characters? Because they just don't learn from the very first few times that they've done it, and I honestly hate the fact that they just keep making the same mistake again, and I hate the cousin, I hate the bully, they're just the same. Oh my god, that noise is really off-putting. Okay, right, next one. Go Eat Worms was honestly so... like, I just genuinely didn't like it. It was boring for most of it. Like, the main character just kills insects and living creatures just willy-nilly. So I was kind of hoping that the worms would get him. But turns out it was just all a prank. And honestly, one of the things I hate about the Goosebumps series is that all of it was just a prank. And I just hated that one of the scariest moments was just a dream as well. So I think, was it this one? It might be a different one, actually. Oh god, I might be getting them all mixed up. No, I think it's this one. But yeah, okay, hang on. Right. And that is My Best Friend is Invisible. Ugh. Honestly, I was kind of digging it for a while, but then I just really didn't get on with the twist at the end. And I just thought it wasn't even really scary. I can't really remember too much about this one, actually. I just remember that he turned out to be freaking human at the end, and I was like, ooh, he's a human, so he's bad, and I don't know, I just didn't really like it all that much, honestly, and I just, yeah, don't have a lot to say about it, so, yeah. Chicken, and I mean, this one made me laugh because it's so ridiculous, but also, is it Vanessa? I think it's Vanessa. Yeah, Vanessa. She is the one who lives by herself. She has a black cat, so she's a witch. But she actually does turn out to be a witch, to be fair. But yeah, I just hated the kids in this. They honestly make Vanessa's life hell. I was rooting for Vanessa to turn everyone into chickens. And I thought that when they kept clucking and stuff, it wasn't even scary. So I just thought it was ridiculous more than anything else. Okay, next. Months of Blood 3. And again, like, this series, just genuinely hate it. This one, I believe, was when Evan grows massive when he, like, eats some of this Months of Blood. Is that the right one? I think it is. Oh my gosh, that all blend into one. But yeah, again, like, it was just the same repetitive nature as Months of Blood 1 and 2. And yeah, oh my god, why am I struggling? Oh, this is the only one I'm like, when's the timer gonna come on? Because, okay, right, it's counting down now. Genuinely didn't like this one, that's what I can say about it. Okay, Don't Go to Sleep. This one was really bizarre and weird. We had this, like, multi-universe dimension thing, and again, like, I kind of liked the concept, I just didn't like the execution. This one had some fat phobia in it as well. And, like, I don't want to edit anything as well, so I'm trying to be as coherent as possible. So, yeah, I didn't find it all that scary. Yeah, oh my god, again, another one that I don't really have much to say about anymore. I do have lots to say in my vlog, though, I promise. I'm brain fog. Okay, The Curse of Count Colleen. I remember I did not like the main character in this one. She was really whiny. She kept making everyone do things with her when they didn't want to do things with her. But at the same time, the other characters, like, were just nasty people as well. There was just so much nastiness in the Goosebumps series. But this one, oh my gosh, and the main character was insufferable as well when she pretended to drown. Like, that sticks out to me because I'm like, what kind of person pretends to drown just to get sympathy? People drown for real. Like, it's almost a Girl Who Cried Monster kind of thing. But I really didn't like this one. Okay, Let's Get Invisible. This one I thought would be lower, to be honest, because I thought this was boring as fuck. This one had literally a group of kids just standing around, playing with a mirror, going invisible for a little bit, realising that it's affecting them, and then coming straight back, but then doing it again. Like, honestly, these characters are stupid, and I just hate the fact that they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. You wouldn't even say anything good. The only good part about this was that there was mirror people, but that happened in, like, the last 3 pages, and it was just all Done. Fair Bob's Your Uncle Fantasy Round. There we go. Okay, The Abominable Snowman in Pasadena. Oh my gosh, like, this was magic snow. This was a book about magic snow. There wasn't any kind of Bigfoot. There wasn't any kind of, I mean, there was. Okay, no, there was. I'm genuinely there was. But like, that wasn't the scary part of it. It wasn't even the main focus of it, really. All it was that people were getting hit by magic snow and was freezing them. And then if the Abominable Snowman hugs you, you're unfrozen, essentially. Like, what's scary about that? Absolutely nothing. And yeah, I just didn't like the dad as well. Like, the dad was so neglectful. Parents of Goosebumps are very neglectful, just saying. Okay. My Harry's Adventure. Allie said this perfectly in her Goosebumps vlog about, like, this is just, like, about suntan lotion. Like, it's not scary. And honestly, agree. Like, why would you take some suntan lotion out of someone's random dumpster, expired, by the way, and put it all over yourself? Like, what were you thinking? I kind of thought the twist was a little bit unique and it made a bit sense, which a lot of R.L. Stein cliffhangers do not. But I thought it was so boring for most of it. And again, some of the best parts were dreams. So, yeah. Okay, I actually had a bit more time. The Bottom Ghost by R.L. Stein. Why am I saying it by R.L. Stein? Okay, The Bottom Ghost, genuinely didn't like as well. I thought this was, all logic was out the window in this one. So we had the kids transferring spirits, souls, whatever, with these dogs, and the dogs become them, and it just, the way they try to work around that, and they were like, oh, let's write a letter to my parents, they'll recognize my handwriting. No, that doesn't make sense. But also, it just, like, there wasn't anything scary about this one either. It was just silly. Okay, next. I Live in Your Basement. This one, I honestly cannot even explain, to be honest. This one was a bit of a mindfuck. And yeah, like, apparently it was the monster in the basement all along. It was his perspective, but not really. I don't know, like, I thought the idea of a monster living in the basement would have been a scary concept. Not in this book. Like, this made a monster living in your basement not scary. And the monster was called Keith. So I just genuinely didn't like it all that much. Atmosphere was not there, or present, or any kind of semblance of, Deep Trouble, oh gosh, I wanted to like this more because I remember reading this when I was a kid, and I thought this was more of an adventure story than a Goosebumps story, and I know people kind of hate me a little bit for that, saying that, but yeah, this was just about a mermaid. A mermaid who can cry underwater and have tears running down her face underwater, and yet she's underwater, so how I don't know. So that stuck out to me. Yeah, it was literally just like a heisty kind of book almost, and it just, yeah. Okay, How I Learned to Fly. Oh my gosh, why is that above Deep Trouble? I don't know, it's just the way Corpal works, okay? So How I Learned to Fly, I thought it was a good concept that he would be able to learn to fly from this book called Flying Lessons, but I didn't like the characters whatsoever. I found them really arrogant, and even the main character, like, the only reason he would help his friend, who was a girl, learn to fly was because he thought that she would fall all over him because she would see him as, like, his savior or whatever, and I'm just like, oh god, like, why are the kids in here so creepy? Okay, Horror Camp Jelly Jam. Oh my gosh, this one, a big eye roll. I mean, the fact that this monster lives under the horror Camp Jelly Jam, lives under Camp Jelly Jam, and he was King Jelly Jam, and he had to be cleaned constantly, otherwise he will, smell himself and die, and that's essentially what happened. The kids stopped cleaning him, and he died from his own stench. And I'm just like, why? Did the kids not have any agency? It just didn't make sense, okay? Okay, Deep Trouble 2, I did like a bit more than the first Deep Trouble, but I think that was because I got some major Pokemon vibes, when they go to the island of giant Pokemon kind of thing. I thought, okay, that's fun. And we didn't have mermaids crying underwater with tears running down their face. Like, that didn't happen in this. But also, again, it was a little bit bizarre, and I did kind of like the ocean setting. It's very isolating. But I think, yeah, there was a scene in the first Deep Trouble that I really enjoyed with the shop, which was real. But this one didn't really have anything else like that, but I still, yeah. Revenge of the Garden Gnomes. I had such high hopes for this book, honestly, and I just didn't really gel with the fact that these were, like, mischievous gnomes, and I thought, just because I love the Goosebumps film, the first and second one, and they were mischievous in that as well, so I should have known, but I just didn't like the way they came across in this one. It wasn't even, like, scary. Like, they're just there, kick them out of the way, smash them. Like, there was just no, like, intensity in it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It came from beneath the sink. This one was a bit weird. We had not a killer sponge. It was a sponge that brought bad luck, essentially. And I liked that idea. I thought that was a really good concept. I just thought that they could have utilised that a lot more. I thought what did happen with the bad luck and stuff just didn't really, like, it wasn't just interesting. It wasn't interesting, it wasn't scary. There was a weird thing that happened at the end as well that I just was like, what? Why are we doing this? But yeah, Killer Sponge, I thought at this point, we're halfway through the series 30, and all of a sudden it's run out of ideas. Okay. Why am I afraid of bees? I genuinely thought this one would be lower because I don't like this book at all. In fact, I probably hate it more than some of the ones I've already said. But this one, I think the reason why it's gotten a little bit higher was because I like the idea of the exploration of your own body and kind of wanting to be out of your body and appreciating your own body. So I kind of like the messages in this, whereas some other Goosebumps books have terrible messages. But I still really didn't like this one. He transferred places with a bee, and that didn't make sense. The adults in this were useless, absolutely useless. Calling all creeps. I think I like this one a bit, maybe. Oh, I don't know actually. But I did like the end of this one when he had the possibility of turning everyone into creeps, you know, to get everyone back because everyone was bullying him. That was good. I like that. But I think just overall, it was a little bit strange because you have to really like a main character for you to like a Goosebumps book half the time. In fact, in my opinion, that's what has to happen. But I just didn't really like him. It was so forgettable. So yeah. Oh my god, be careful what you wish for. I hated Samantha Bird, not gonna lie. Like, she made the worst decisions ever, and she didn't learn. One thing I hate about with the Goosebumps series is that characters never learn. Samantha Bird never learns, and she made the worst decision at the end. I like the idea of the twist at the end, but I hated the way that she gave her bully the 3 wishes when she knows what she would have done and the power that she just gave her. Why would you do that? That was just so silly. Why did you do that, Samantha? Really didn't like it. Anyway. Night of the Living Dummy 3. Oh my god, I really enjoyed the first Night of the Living Dummies. This one was so disappointing. And again, like, what did I even think about this one, actually? I think it was because Slappy at this point wasn't even scary anymore. He kind of became this, almost a caricature of himself. And I didn't appreciate that because I love Slappy. I'm desperate to burp right now as well, but I don't want to waste time. I've just wasted time. Okay, and I didn't like the fact that it was the same thing over and over again. There we go. Monster of Blood 2, genuinely I thought this would be lower as well, because I hate this series so much, and, you know, I could have forgiven it a little bit in this one over books 3 and 4, but it's just, why would you bring Monster Blood back? Why would you even deal with that? But also, the fact that Monster Blood just expired out of nowhere, and that's how the book wrapped up. Monster Blood just expired because this was the exact day and time that the Monster Blood was supposed to expire, so I thought the climax and everything was just so useless and so, what's the word? Anticlimactic, that's it, yeah. Bad Hair Day, I have a bit of a soft spot for because it genuinely made me laugh sometimes. And I like the idea of stealing a magician's bag and the bag of tricks kind of going haywire and having to go back to the magician to get help. I like that. I like some of the twists. I like the fact that the magician was, you know, not who he appeared to be, and the stuff that happened with the sister and the main character at the end, that was really interesting. And there was some scenes like with the snakes, that was really good. But other than that, not the best book in my opinion. Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns was such wasted material, honestly. I was digging the vibes because this is set during Halloween, and I love books set during Halloween, and I love the idea of it, like, it was so good, until we got to the twist, where it turned out the main character was behind it all, and it just didn't make sense because we'd been in the main character's head this entire time, so, like, how and why was she so surprised and scared for literally 99% of the book, and then the last page, it turns out she was behind it all. I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense. Don't try that shit with me, Stein. Okay, you can't scare me. The only good thing about this book was at the very end with the mud monsters. And, like, okay, so essentially we follow bullies. They're the bullies who are trying to... Is her name Courtney? Courtney, she is a bit of a show-off and she's really good and everything. So the 4 main characters hate her for that. And I'm just like... Why, you need to redirect your energy elsewhere. And I just really like the ending with the real mud monsters because they're going to prank her with the mud monsters, but it turns out there's real mud monsters. That was great, but that was on the last page, so it doesn't count. I hated it. The first Monster Blood, this is higher than I was expecting as well, but I did kind of like the setup of it. I like the setting of it as well. And I'm going to sneeze, so if I sneeze, I apologise. But I think there's genuinely... Oh man, this is definitely the best one of the bunch. And I wasn't like a big fan of Evan, but I did kind of like him to begin with. And Andy as well, I liked her introduction. Like, they were good to begin with, but then, yeah, it just went a bit weird. And with the dog as well, leave the dog alone. Leave the bloody dog alone. Okay, I think I've stifled that sneeze. Ghost Camp. Ghost Camp was better than I expected, but I still wasn't in love because I thought it borrowed so many concepts and ideas from Welcome to Camp Nightmare. I'm genuinely going to sneeze. I need to stop. And yeah, so I did think it was alright, but also, yeah, like, it's just the fact that all the ghosts destroy themselves at the end, essentially, and it just didn't make sense. Like, I hate it when we have an easy climax or an easy wrap-up of things, and this was just, like, very bad for that. Okay, How I Got My Shrunken Head was, again, another missed opportunity. I love the setting of it with being in the jungle, like, I love stuff like that, but then we just have, like, just the ridiculous jungle magic and shouting out this phrase. I can't remember what the phrase was, but he had to shout it out. So it meant that every situation that the main character got in, what was his name, Mark, every situation he got in, he would easily be able to get out of it just by shouting a random word. And, like, with the quicksand, don't get me started on the quicksand bit. So, yeah, it was such a missed opportunity for this one. The Blob That Ate Everyone, I love the idea of it. I love the fact that you could make things real. I mean, I've probably seen the plot before, but, you know, it was a great idea to have things become real when you write on the typewriter. So I really like the atmosphere and the vibe of it, especially when he makes, like, a thunder and stuff like that, and then there's a blob that eats everyone, of course. But then it turns out at the very end that there is an actual blob monster that's writing the story instead, and I'm just like, oh, I could have so done without that twist, and I need to try and not let a twist at the end ruin the entire book, but it's really hard because it really, really does ruin the entire book for me, honestly. Okay, next we are on Egg Monsters from Mars. I was really liking this, again, up until the end, when he literally shits an egg on someone's lawn. Like, it just baffles the mind, but I did like the idea of him being kind of kidnapped by the scientist. Like, that's a really scary thought, and yeah, like, that's pretty much about it. Some of it didn't make sense, and I thought it kind of overstayed its welcome with it. Like, it should have wrapped up earlier, and also, why shit an egg on a lawn? Why end with that? I just don't get it. Okay, How to Kill a Monster. This one was good because I like the whole cat and mouse chase of it. It was still boggles the mind how the grandparents are that bad and that awful. They would have a monster in a room in their house and leave the kids there with that monster, but they're not also that. They have monsters around the entire place, so when the kids finally escape this monster, they're like, oh, but there's more monsters outside, be careful of them. Why leave the kids, you neglectful grandparents? But yeah, I did like the chases and stuff. It was a bit high stakes, and I enjoyed that a lot. Next is Beware the Snowman. This one, again, was one that started off really well, went a bit downhill. This was like a soap opera, quite honestly. We had, like, missing fathers, we had aunts who we don't fully trust. It just, yeah, I felt a little bit like a soap opera. But I really liked the fact that the main character was a bit different. She had lost her, was it her mum? Yeah, I think she'd lost her mum. She didn't know her father. And that was really good to explore because I thought, oh, Goosebumps is getting a little bit more mature. But no, it just kind of went a bit crazy by the end of it. And I didn't like it after that. Werewolf Skin was great for the atmosphere, and I liked the fact that, was this the one where the main character saved a baby deer? Was this the one? It might be a different one, actually. But I thought that was really good. I liked the characters in this, and it's very rare for me to really like characters in Goosebumps books. But I liked the atmosphere. I liked the story as well. It kept me guessing for most of it. Some of it did let me down, and some of it I was a bit confused by. But I thought overall it was pretty good, but I prefer the Werewolf at Fever Swamp. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I'm probably being a bit harsh on this one, but I did think, like, the whole concept of this piano school, that was wrapped up far too easily, far too quickly. Love the idea of the ghost playing the piano in the attic, but I didn't think that was explored very well, and I don't even remember how that wrapped up, to be honest. But yeah, I thought there was, like, some missed opportunities. Some of it was really bizarre and weird, which I kind of like. But I guess that's all I can say about that one. Kirsten the Mummy's Tomb. I was really digging the setting, the ancient Egypt setting. Well, not ancient Egypt. It's not set in ancient Egypt. No, just Egypt setting even. And I like the fact that the danger in this is real, and we have a really scary concept of them being trapped in sarcophaguses. And that was, is it sarcophagi? I really don't know. I need to. Sorry about that. But yeah, the idea of it was really good, but I kind of went downhill for me after a little while. There was too many jokes and too many fake pranks and stuff, but yeah. Just above that is actually the sequel, Return of the Mummy. I like this one a little bit more. I kind of like the idea that somebody, what was her name? There was somebody who ended up helping them, but turned out to be somebody from the past, and they were a villain, and I like that aspect of it, actually, and it reminded me of when I read it when I was a kid, so I like that. I liked it. It was a bit more supernatural than the first Kirsten Mummy's Tomb book. But other than that, I mean, at least the characters weren't as silly as a lot of characters are in their sequels, so I'll give them props for that. Yep. Then we have The Beast from the East, which I honestly thought I would have put lower down on the list. This one was essentially just a big game of tag, but what I did like about it was the fact that there were quite high stakes with this because if the kids didn't win this game of tag, then they would die. They would be eaten by these beasts, which was great. But then it just got so ridiculous. I really hated the twist. I hated the rules that just kept being made up every now and then just to keep the story going. I was like, R.L. Stine is just writing this as he goes. He has no plan for this book. It was hilarious, but not in the right way. Attack of the Mutant, I feel like is a bit too high for me personally. This one, I liked how it was a little bit different. We have a bit of a Marvel kind of side to this, and I thought also the main character was quite smart in the way he defeated the mutant. But yeah, I liked the idea of the comic book kind of predicting what's going to happen next almost. And yeah, but I mean, there was, again, some fat shaming in this, which I really didn't appreciate. But yeah, it was different, so I kind of liked it for that. But yeah, I thought it was going to be lower than this. Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Really good concept. Really like the idea of traveling back in time, and also it's really, really scary, isn't it? When you, like, every time you wake up, you're like much younger, like not just by a day, but like years younger. And I just was like, how is he going to get out of this? So I was really intrigued throughout. I didn't know how he was going to get out of it. I will say Tara is like one of the worst characters in Goosebumps like ever. I hate her so much, and I'm actually really glad the main character kept the 1994 tab knocked off so Tara doesn't come back. You know what? Yeah, that makes me sound like a bitch. Anyway, next is The Ghost Next Door. I did like this one. Yeah, I did like this one a lot. And yeah, I just kind of found it really predictable. Probably wouldn't have found it as predictable if I was a kid. So that's why it's probably like higher than normal. It probably would have been lower. But I found most of it rather boring. I thought some of it was a little bit too obvious. Like, you know, with her shouting at the mum through the window and the mum isn't hearing her. I was like, okay, it's obvious the main character's a bloody ghost. Like, I don't need to be an adult to know that. Okay, next is The Haunted Mask 2. This one of the redeeming factors about this is that the fact I absolutely love the haunted mask concept, and the fact that a mask can stick to your face is just such a great and unique thing, and I love that. So that kind of saved this book a little bit for me. Genuinely nowhere near as good as the first one. I think what I liked most about this was the fact that it's still a scary concept, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Steve because I loved Carly Beth in the first one. I sympathised with her, but I didn't really like Steve. He was asking for a lot of it. Yeah. Oh, Legend of the Lost Legend. Why the hell is that so high, actually? I can't even remember that much about it. I think it was just, like, so average that it just leveled out, I think, maybe. Like, I can't even, like, explain why I kind of liked it so much. I like the idea of it, and I like the ending of it. The fact that finding this lost legend meant that they would also be lost kind of thing. Like, that was really, like, that was good. And I like the kids being so isolated as well. Like the setting. But I can't really remember much of this one. Why is it so high? The Girl Who Cried Monster. This one should probably be lower as well. I think it's probably due to the fact that I kind of did like the twist at the end, although it didn't make a lot of sense when I read it, but looking back at it now, I was like, okay, fair enough. But I like the idea of her being trapped in the library after hours, even though it's still probably like daylight, but, you know, her kind of watching the librarian turn into this monster was a bit of a gut-clenching moment, and I think that's what saved this book for me, and yeah, it was good. Then we have The Headless Ghost. I do love me a ghost story, and I thought it was a really good ghost story. I love the kind of backstory of the Headless Ghost. The only thing is, though, I wasn't the biggest fan of how easy it was to find this ghost's head. Like, this ghost has been looking for his head for such a long time, and then we just find it straight away. Like, that's just so unrealistic. And I was like, could there not have been a bit more challenge in this? I don't know, but I still really enjoyed the idea of it, and I really liked the ending of it. Like, who's a ghost, who isn't a ghost? Like, what? I don't know. So yeah. We have The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of this one as well. It's going to be a recurring thing in this one, isn't it? I love the atmosphere on this one. But yeah, out of all the werewolf stories, I think this is probably one of my favourites. I really like the main character. I like the idea that he was trying to save his dog, and his dog was being blamed for like some werewolf attacks. And just like the desperation of the main character made him feel a lot more real, a lot more relatable. And I just really liked the way the story went. I thought it was like really quick, action-packed, and it kept me reading until the very end. Okay, yeah. Ghost Speech, again, it was so predictable, but I really loved the atmosphere in this one. It was great. I loved the eeriness of it. I kind of loved the twist at the end, but also I just think, again, like anything with ghosting is going to be great, unless it's like Ghost Camp or Curse of Camp Cold Lake. Like those two can get in the bin. Well, not really, because I kind of like Ghost Camp a little bit. Anyway, this one, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And although it's a Terry and Jerry, I'm sure it's Terry and Jerry. They're the main characters, and it just cracks me up every time. Stay Out of the Basement. is iconic in my eyes, just because I grew up on the episode of Stay Out of the Basement. I had it on VHS tape. But reading the book, it was so good. And with this being an early one as well, it was a little bit gory too. There was a moment where I think it's Margaret's dad slices open the fake dad. And it just, like, it's such a graphic visual. And I was like, oh wow, this is for kids. I love it. But yeah, I just kind of like the idea of like which one's her dad, which one isn't. Kind of not trusting your parent is really scary. So yeah, I really enjoyed it for that. Now we have Vampire Breath. This was such a surprise for me because I don't think I read it as a kid. But I really loved the idea of the gothic castle, the idea of traveling back in time, having this vampire kind of after you, kind of not. I really like the idea of the fact that it's like all a vampire family at the end. Like, that's pretty good. But also just gothic castles. I'm there for it. But other than that, yeah, pretty good. Some of it didn't make sense, and I thought like the whole concept of the vampire breath was like transporting them through time or whatever. It was just a little bit weird, but it was still really good. Okay, A Shocker on Shock Street shocked me because I had never read this one. I didn't think I was going to like it going into it, but it actually surprised me how well the characters were built, how well the red herrings were put in the book, and not just the red herrings, but the clues on like the final twist. And I thought, oh, did Arya actually plan this one? So that was really good. I like the idea of the kind of theme or attraction park idea of the Shock Street series that the main characters love. Really like that too. So yeah, that's a really good surprise. Scarecrow Walks at Midnight was, again, like one that I remember liking as a kid. And again, I love it when the scares turn out to be real. So we have these scarecrows actually come to life because they're being brought to life by this magic book. And I was like, okay, I love it. Don't cop out. Don't cop out. Don't cop out. And that's exactly what Arya always does. But he didn't do it in this one. So I was like, yes, I'm proud of you, Stein. But yeah, other than that, really good. It's very, scary to be on a farm with scarecrows all around. Never been on a farm, I don't think. Or lived on a farm even. I visited one, but... okay, Welcome to Dead House, the very first Goosebumps book. I really appreciate and I love. There's so many great gothic visuals in this one. We have flesh melting from people's faces. We have this big ghost story. We have a backstory. We have some, sympathetic characters to follow as well. I really like Amanda and Josh, and they have really good sibling banter. They have no idea what's going on. And yeah, this one is the one that started it all. And I thought it did a really great way of starting the series, of planting a foundation of what to expect in the series. So really good. Phantom of the Auditorium, I never read as a kid, and I didn't think I would like it, but I did. It turned out to be really good. I didn't expect some of the things to happen, especially since we had a boy going missing during a stage production in this school. That was really, really interesting. Spitting everywhere. I need to swallow. I've never had to say that before. But yeah, Phantom. I love Phantom of the Opera. I like the callbacks to that. But again, teachers are so silly, and I hate adults in Goosebumps books. Next is The Haunted School. Literally a fantastic Goosebumps book. Love the twist ending. Love the fact that we have this camera that transports people to this other world, or like other version of the world where everything's like colorless and things. So the main characters will find in a doorway there firstly, but then at the very end when it's the Dr. Chameleon taking the photo of them and it's going to send them back, that was so brilliant. I love that so much. And yeah, I just was so surprised because at the point in time I was hating the Goosebumps series, but this one saved it for me. Yeah. Okay, Welcome to Camp Nightmare is again one that I think I'm more nostalgic for. I don't think it holds up that well today, but I'm so nostalgic for this and the TV show episode. I wasn't the biggest fan of the twist where it turned out to be, oh, let's visit Earth or whatever, so it turned out this was on another planet. But I did love the idea of Saber. I think it's Cabin 13 as well. Sorry if I'm spitting everywhere, but I'm just so passionate. But yeah, there was just so many great kind of moments, especially when campers would go missing and then their stuff would go missing. That was something that was done to death later on. Night of the Living Dummy, the very first one, was really good, but we follow, I think was it Mr. Wood? Mr. Wood, so I think it's Mr. Wood. And Mr. Wood is causing havoc in the main character's life. Bit fatphobic with some of the jokes, wasn't great, but I love the ending of it where it turned out Slappy was also alive, that was great, but there wasn't enough Slappy for me in this one for me to really love it more than the next book in this list. But yeah, it was a really good start to the whole Night of the Living Dummy series. Okay, Night of the Living Dummy 2 I actually prefer because it had more Slappy. I really loved the end of it as well, that incorporated the parents. And yeah, it just, what else can I say? Like, at this point, I'm just genuinely running out of things to say. I did like it, but it was, like, still really, really similar to the first one, just with Slappy as the main character, well, the main dummy instead. I felt really bad for Amy, and I felt like she was, like, in a hopeless situation. So I really like that idea of hopelessness. But yeah, I preferred it a little bit more than the first Night of the Living Dummy. Sue me. Next is Say Cheese and Die. This one was fantastic, which is saying a lot considering the second one is the worst Goosebumps book. This one, I just love the setup and the idea of this camera taking photos of it. Well, not the camera taking photos of kids, and then something bad would happen, or the camera would, like, predict what was about to happen. That was really good, and I was really scared by that idea. And yeah, it felt really dangerous, and yeah, I love the concept. Okay. One Day at Horrorland was just so fun. I really enjoyed my time reading this one. Again, nostalgic, loved it as a kid. I love the idea of a theme park that's run by monsters. The ending could have done with some work, and I think, was it the TV show episode? I think the TV show episode changed the ending, but I enjoyed it for what it was in this one. I love the rides. I love the idea of the rides, like the one in the coffin river rapids or whatever. Like, that's so fun. Like, I'd love to visit, like, One Day at Horrorland. I'd love to visit Horrorland. It's so good. I really enjoyed this one. So fun. Okay. Number 2 is A Night in Terror Tower. I absolutely adore this one because being set in London, we have 2 kids, away from home. It's so isolating. They're in a totally different country. They have no idea what's going on. They go to the hotel. The parents apparently don't exist. What? But then they're also being chased by, like, this executioner in the tower that they have no idea anything about, and then they get transported back in time. They're being, like, going to get executed. It's just so good. Like, this is non-stop, spooky. There's somebody stalking them. It's just like, wow, like, this one's so fantastic. Loved it. And then number 1 is The Haunted Mask, the very first one. I feel like this is just so obvious at this point, but Carly Beth is a great main character. Love the idea of the haunted mask being stuck to your face. Love, I hate revenge stories, and Goosebumps do it a lot, but in this one, I genuinely wanted Carly Beth to get her own back because she deserved some happiness, okay? This one was fantastic. Atmosphere, the plot, everything. I love the way she resolved it as well, was through love, like, oh, just great messages, great book, absolutely lovely. Perfect Goosebumps book, and that's it. That is it. That is the round. Oh my lord. That was a little bit fun, a little bit intense. Oh, God, I can breathe now. There's so much more I could have said about those books, but honestly, like, I would have went on to rants, absolute rants on half of these books. A lot of these books I genuinely hated. But yeah, honestly, I surprised myself with a lot of the rankings, not gonna lie. There are some that I'm genuinely surprised are higher up than they should be, and some are lower than I think they should be. But that's the way Compile works. That's the way the rating system with these books. So yeah. Anyway, that was actually a little bit fun. Not gonna lie, that was a bit fun. And it kept me concise as well. But yeah, those were the Goosebumps books that I enjoyed and didn't enjoy. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments, actually, what your favourite Goosebumps book is. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my ranking. Remember, this is all subjective, and I read all of these in a row. So I probably don't favour the later books because I was so fed up by everything repeating itself by that point. And it really did feel like I was reading the same book 62 times. But I do have a soft spot for Goosebumps, so it's not all bad. That's all I can say about it. Oh my god, is this I don't think this will be the final Goosebumps video I ever do. I still want to do, like, worst twists and best twists and worst characters and best characters. I still want to do videos like that. But honestly, that might be a little bit of a while. I need a break from Goosebumps. But I hope you enjoy. Please leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out my 3.5-hour Goosebumps video where I read all the books in detail. And I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.